Okay, Councillor Vokes, Councillor Snively, and Councillor Bundy.
Thank you, Your Worship.
We have a motion on the floor, so hold it to the motion, okay?
Yeah, it's to the motion.
Okay, good.
Look, in terms of processes and meetings, I don't care who we meet with, when we meet with them, what order we meet in, as long as before they close that school, this council and this administration has an opportunity to go one-on-one with them. I don't care, Your Worship, and all due respect to you, non-argumentatively, who we meet with, when we meet with them, what order we meet with them. As long as at the end of the day, this council has a chance to meet face-to-face as a council whole, as their board as a whole, to have the final opportunity. That's all. I don't care who we talk to and when we talk to them. But again, for the last time, at the conclusion, we have that last opportunity to meet with them and share the ideas of importance of keeping that school. That's all. I'm not going to argue with people.
Thank you, sir. Councillor Snively.
Through you, Your Worship, getting back to Karen Petrie, I think we should contact her and meet. This was the first. Let's meet with her. She, Catherine Wynn, assured us she would meet with us. So let's go that route first, okay? And then after that route, we'll contact the board. We want to be a delegation to the board, and if they don't listen to us, then we can go legally and get legal advice. That's I think that's a route we should go. But first, I think Karen Petrie would have a lot of pull. Okay, if she's coming down, and if our premier assured us she will come down, let's go that route first. That's my recommendation.
Okay, Councillor Bundy.
Thank you. My question is more to CEO Phillips. From what he recently has just said, that perhaps we should get a legal opinion before we engage in any of these things. Maybe our lawyer would say, do this, ask this question, dot this T, or dot that I, cross this T. So I think tomorrow morning the first step should be to get a legal opinion. And if I have to put my 2016 to $2,500 towards a retainer, I'm willing to do that for this cause. So we have a little bit of money here already. So I think, personally, that's what I would like to see. Let's get a legal opinion to say, you know what, you've done this, but you need to do that. And it doesn't have to be aggressive. It just needs to, I think, be strategic at this point. We're not going to be able to get Karen Petrie down here twice. So I want to ask all the right questions the first time she's down here. So that's, I don't know if we need a motion for that or an amendment to an motion or whatever, but I would like to see us reach out to a lawyer tomorrow.
Okay, Councillor Bjorkman.
Yeah, I would just, Your Worship, is concur with that. I think the going with Ms. Petrie and the legal, there's two streams we can actually do at the same time. If she's not going to meet with us next week, we can start that conversation and get that, find out when she's coming down. But in the meantime, as Mr. Phillips suggested, let's look at our options. Let's make sure, because maybe we've got some teeth that we don't know we have.
Councillor Snively, Councillor Vokes.
Through Your Worship, I agree with Councillor Bjorkman 100%. Now, if we're going to seek legal advice, I would recommend that if we're going to spend some money on legal advice, let's make sure that we seek a good, strong law firm, and let's seek somebody that's really, really well known in the law about this kind of case, because we could get a hold of any lawyer and they're gonna say this, but let's get a hold of a good, solid law firm if we're going to go that route. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Councillor Vokes.
Thank you, Worship. Council, if I could, we're just repeating ourselves, because I said my motion says that we meet with the board and we go in camera to talk about what legal opportunities we have. So when we come out of that in-camera meeting, we will know what direction we're going. So we're talking about here, we're saying, what are we going to do, or what lawyer are we going to get? That's the purpose of going in camera. so we can have all the discussions we're having right now, which we really shouldn't be having.
Like my question to the CAO would be, do we need to have an in-camera meeting to contact a lawyer for advice?
If I can, through you, Your Worship, I don't hear Councillor Vokes asking that question, but in response to your question, there has to be rationale under one of 7 or 8, I guess, criteria to go in camera. I'm struggling unless we're negotiating or unless we're working on a legal aspect. And until we've met with a lawyer, we don't know whether we have a legal foundation to go forward on. So we're doing this in a public process right now, and I think that's the appropriate venue or the appropriate room to be doing this in. Until you're actually working on either negotiation or there's a named individual, which there isn't in this case. So this is public business, what we're dealing with. So I don't really appreciate, until we get into a legal aspect, and I'm not suggesting that there's anything right now that I've heard from anybody that would say we need to go in camera to discuss legal or to discuss negotiation. We're not at that juncture. So I think we've got to be, we can certainly meet at a different time and place to have the discussion as to what Councillor Vokes is indicating in terms of the process of what we want to ask and what we want to do. It doesn't have to be this session tonight, but I don't believe that we really have much to go on. I would defer to the clerk, but from what I've heard, there's nothing under those 8 criteria when you can go in camera or into closed meeting.
Through your worship, the one section under 239 of the Municipal Act is we could have a closed meeting regarding advice that is subject to solicitor-client privilege. That could be a meeting council could have with a solicitor present. That's correct, yes. That's correct, yes.
Councillor Bondy, Councillor Vokes?
Thank you. So I'll leave it up to administration to find a lawyer, hopefully not the one that drew up the lease for the Harbor Restaurant, and then debrief the lawyer, and then bring council in. I think that would be the steps that I would like to see. I don't think we need to go in camera right now to even talk about hiring a lawyer, as long as there's enough direction here to hire a lawyer, and I think that's the next move. And I may have to excuse myself soon.
Councillor Vokes?
I was just going to simplify things. I'm going to take the out of camera, out of my motion, and direct administration to meet with legal representatives to find out what opportunities are there for us to pursue.
Yes, I'm going to have the clerk read the motion so we're all clear exactly what it is. Okay, thanks.
The first motion was moved by Councillor Vokes, seconded by Councillor Caxero, to arrange a meeting with the Greater Essex County District School Board trustees and senior administration at their earliest convenience.
Any questions to the motion? And you're going to get one shot, okay? Councillor Vokes?
That, in terms of that, on the advice of our CAO, Russ Phillips, I will make that motion that we get put on as a delegation at their next meeting, if it fits.
Still, I just have the slightest problem with that if they turn around and ask us to come to their meeting next Tuesday night, a week from tomorrow, and we haven't talked with the people from the ministry, like Karen Petrie. I think we're losing plenty. And I would like someone else to either tell me I'm wacko, or someone to say, hey, I agree with the mayor. Okay?
If I could.
Okay, Councillor Vokes.
I'm not going to suggest you're wacko. I just said there's a political process that you'll either support it or you don't. Call the question. Simple as that. That's your say.
Okay, you
That's
got
your
it.
position.
Anyone else to the motion? Councillor Caxero.
Through your worship, I guess it really depends on how quick Karen is going to come down. If we find out tomorrow through a phone call that Karen will be down in the next couple of weeks, then I would suggest deferring to the next school board meeting versus having it next week. If that's the schedule, I would suggest that would be acceptable. But if we find out that Karen might not come down until January, then I don't know if it would be as important to wait that long if we're going to try to present ourselves to the school board. So I guess it's timing, and that would be the only thing that I would say has some effect on the way I would look at it.
Councillor Bjorkman.
Thanks, sir. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree that we need to give ourselves, we don't have to nail down the very next meeting. I don't think that's the way we need to go. We need to make sure we're organized and ready to go as well. We want to do it. We want to do it soon. I would suggest we want to do it in 2015. We want to make sure we're in there before next year and they get the decisions that they're going to make. But that gives us time. I won't support the next board meeting, but I do support making sure we get in there this year, regardless of whether Karen Petrie gets down in time or the other things work out. We need to be in front of that board this year, and that's what I would like to see.
Deputy Mayor Melange.
The issue with going to them before we hear from somebody else, they've heard everything that we have to say. They know, they understand what it's going to do to the community. They've been presented with that. They understand how the community feels. We have to go there with some new material and approach them on a different angle than what we've been approaching them. Because what we've done so far has gone on deaf ears. What we've said so far, they've had no reaction to. So we need to go there with new material. By getting a legal opinion, having somebody tell us, excuse me, having someone tell us what we may be able to do on a legal perspective, or hearing from Karen Petrie and being able to drop her name and saying, in discussion with Karen Petrie, this is what she's telling us that we should be telling you as a school board. We've got some different angles to go on, and I think that's what we need before we go before that board, because they'll just be falling on deaf ears again if we go before that.
Thank you. Anyone else? Councillor Vokes.
Yeah, I'm just going to finish it with, I specifically looked at our CAO and said it, and then I looked at council and said it. I said, I don't care when we meet with them, what order we meet with them, who we meet with and who we don't. As long as we get the chance before that doors close on that school, we can meet with them. Simple as that. And then now we're talking about, forget it. It's just, you know what I'm saying.
But Councillor Vokes, I agree with you. That's what you said. But the motion reads, and when somebody comes up here and questions us as a municipality or a council, why did you do that? The motion says immediately, like right away. Well, as fast as we can. Okay, excuse me. Okay, that's right. But I cannot understand, like I said before, why, and I want to meet with those people, just like Deputy Mayor Melange said. We must meet with them again. I think everybody in the whole Essex County agrees that we should meet with them again. But as Deputy Mayor said, go with something probably new. Hopefully we get something like that from Karen Petrie and her entourage. Mr. Phillips.
Thank you, through your worship. If I can try to help in the wording of the recommendation or the motion, if I can ask the mover to consider this, in that, if I understand it correctly, the wording that I've got is that effectively Councillor Vokes is asking that administration be tasked with arranging for a meeting but at an upcoming board meeting of the Windsor-Essex Greater District School Board to have voting members in attendance and with their senior administration, our senior administration, and council. And that prior to going into that, if I can add that prior to going into that meeting, that administration is tasked with any amount of discovery that they can prior to that meeting date, working with members of the park or the community, and with seeking legal opinion. If that's suitable, and then we haven't got it locked into time, Randy. If the mover and the seconder are okay with that, is that sound like a doable approach?
I'm more than fine with that. That's really what the motion says. It's just more finesse. Thank you. Yes.
It's okay with the seconder? Okay. All in favor of that motion? Motion carries.
Item B under new business, Councillor Snively, Queen Street and Center Street intersection in Harrow.
Councillor Snively?
Thank you, through your worship. Matter of fact, there's somebody out here in the audience tonight that brought me to the attention of that intersection right there at the corner of Center and Walker Road, right beside Tim Hortons. That's not the first person that's brought it forward. There was 2 people that day, and I had several people tell me that people are blowing through that stop sign. What's happening there is they're looking ahead, they're looking south, and they're looking at the traffic light. People that don't know the road very well are coming down that road. They're looking at the traffic light ahead, and they forget about that stop sign, and they're blowing right through that stop sign. There's a lot of kids that cross there go to that junior school. Somebody is going to get hit, and I would like to see a flashing stop sign there, a flashing stop sign. I don't think the cost is great on that, and I truly believe that it's going to save a serious accident there. So I would like the support from council. I would like to make a motion, okay, to have a flashing stop sign put in that intersection. The second item I have here on roads is, I know we spend millions of dollars on our roads, and I know we just did the east end of the 3rd concession. I went down it today. I've been gone for 10 days, but I drove down that road today. We just did that road a month ago. It's patched up probably 10 different areas. The problem is, okay, we have heavy truck traffic using our Class B roads. And they're tearing up our roads. We're spending millions of dollars to do our roads, but yet we're not enforcing the bylaw to keep them off. So I'm going to try to instruct administration to contact the MTO and the OPP, okay, to keep these trucks off our road. I followed a tractor trailer loaded with a roll of steel, and the weight of that truck went right down the 3rd concession on our new road. Okay, that is why these roads are getting tore up. So I'm going to make that recommendation that we move forward. I know we were going to contact the MTO. I never had a response back from administration yet. If we have, but somehow we're going to have to keep them off our roads. They're destroying our roads, and I'd like the council, members of council, if they're out that way, just to drive down the 3rd and look at that. It's pathetic what the trucks are doing. We just spent, I don't know what the cost of that road was, Chris? What was the cost of that road?
Through your worship, I don't know offhand, a couple 100,000.
Yeah.
The road's not finished, by the way.
Okay,
The road-
I
the road is
understand,
the
I
process,
understand
so-
that, but when you see big ruts in that road, you know where they're coming from. They're coming from truck traffic. So I would like to instruct administration to get a hold of the MTO and the OPP to keep these trucks off our road. Thank you.
Mr. Phillips?
Thank you, through you, your worship. I can certainly appreciate that there are members of the public here this evening that apparently are here to hear this particular concern. My frustration with that, and I need to voice this on behalf of administration, because it comes to our attention on a regular basis at our management meetings, is that we are sitting here tonight. This was an item that was added to the agenda during the new business portion. These are, to me, are administrative matters that could easily be taken up by a quick call to the director or to the CAO. They don't need to make their way onto the council agenda unless we haven't reported. And as Councillor Snively's indicated, if we owe you a response on that, certainly, you know, I've got a note on it now. We'll do a follow-up. But to me, on a matter it's one of whether or not on the flashing sign, if you would give us that advance warning, Chris can come in with a cost estimate. But to put these things on the agenda, Councillor, in the 11th hour without giving administration, we're sucker punched on it. I'll be blunt. We can't answer your questions. If we knew this information in advance, if it had been called into the clerk or you bring it to my attention earlier, we could deal with it. I apologize for the frustration on that, but I get this on a regular basis from our management group of why does this continually happen when we have items that are added on. If you want to put it on the agenda, you want to discuss it, that's fine. Bring it to our attention, then we can at least come prepared on these things. I can't answer any of your questions tonight. I don't think Chris can either, in terms of what the costs are or how many. But in something like that with a stop sign, I think that's something that if he had traffic counts, if he had understandings, if he had accident data, he can then speak with some rationale or some background to it. But you make a point, I can't argue it, and it's not our job to argue it, but I can't defend it either. Apologies.
Yeah, through your worship, through us. When we did our walkthrough Harrow, okay, back a month ago, we said that was a problem intersection back then. Okay, all I'm recommending here is a flashing light. Okay, we knew there was a problem there. We knew people were blowing through that intersection. The thought back then was the truck traffic there, parked there, trucks were blocking the stop sign. But according to residents in the town, that is not the issue. The issue is people are looking ahead. They're seeing the traffic light. So that's why I'm bringing it forward. Okay, we've already looked at that intersection, and yes, I agree with you there. Okay, but all I'm bringing forward tonight to the attention of council is it's a problem intersection, a very big problem intersection, and I don't want to wait and see if somebody's going to get killed or hurt there. It's going to happen. And all I'm recommending is let's look at it. It needs a flashing light, a higher stop sign. Let's put one in. Plain and simple. That's all I'm asking here tonight. I'm not going to wait. I'm not going to sit here and wait till somebody gets hurt at that intersection. Thank you.
I would just like to say, you made the comment, Larry, that Councillor Snively, a month ago, we did that to her. I wasn't there because I was out of town. But a month ago, and I'm on the side of administration, and we all should be. He doesn't have answers tonight. You had a month to call the town office, tell the clerk, ask the clerk, and we could have dealt with this tonight instead of maybe, and had answers here. We discussed this Thursday when we were doing the agenda, and a question was, I believe there's a couple parking spots in that block. Possibly, if we eliminated the one closest to the corner, people would see that sign. I've had people in here who tell me they can't see the stop sign because there's usually vehicles parked there. And if they are, they don't see them. Do we need a bigger sign? Maybe it's only a larger sign that we need. And maybe we do need flashing lights. But I think we need to hear from administration with regards to costing and everything else. Now, you want a flashing light. Is it just going south on Walker Road? Or is it, here, let me write their names down. Do we need a flashing light just going south on Walker Road? Or are you looking for a flashing light for a four-way stop there? Like, because it is,
Through your worship,
you know.
the complaints I'm getting, the concerns from the residents are people going south through there. Okay, I never heard anything about people going north. People are going south, they're blowing through that. What they're doing, they're looking ahead, they see the traffic light. So they're blowing through there. My concern is the safety of the public, plain and simple. That's my concern. And as far as, if we want to go further with that, I brought up an issue about McCormick Side Road and the fourth concession with the bridge. I never brought it up to council. I brought it up to administration a month ago. And I was told, and I'm not going to point fingers at anybody, I was told, engineering report, they would check with the engineer to see if we could remove the bar off the top of that bridge. To this day, I haven't heard a thing. So, that's my concern. My big concern is safety of the public. I really don't give a damn what you think. It's the safety of the public, plain and simple. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Phillips, rebuttal, yes. Then Councillor Vokes and Councillor Caxero.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just to respond to Councillor Snively's comment on I think that you actually brought the issue up of the fourth concession and the bridge about 3 months ago, or even longer, because if that's the same matter that I think you handed me a letter from a retiring police officer at the time. I did follow up on that. I followed up with the Director of Infrastructure. He followed up with the engineers, and he does have a report that indicates that bridge meets all standard construction standards. I'll let him respond to that. But in terms of the police on the OPP, they rescinded they actually took away the letter that had been signed by the sergeant at the time, noting that they really can't do that. They can't get into that type of business unless there's accidents at that. They have no grounds to determine what is or what isn't safe. If an engineer says it meets the standards, it meets the standards. But if I might, with your approval, Mr. Chair, I'd like to ask Mr. Nepsey to respond to Councillor Snively.
Yes, sir. Mr. Nepsey?
Through your worship, you don't have to list names. It was me that he asked. I'm fine with that. He had come to me following that letter to discuss the issue of modifying the structure to see if we could remove the top rail. I informed him, as he noted, that I would contact the engineer who did the design on the bridge. Unfortunately, it's not a priority for that company, so I've been dealing back and forth with them to see. He regurgitated the letter to me that was originally provided to council as far as saying that structure was a structure. You can't mess with these structures for these bridges. It's not like you can pull one piece apart. They're designed for a standard, for impact, for collision, for safety. So he's looking into it. It's not a simple matter of just asking him, hey, can I remove that, and getting a yes or no answer. So I am in the process of dealing with him on that. So you haven't heard anything about that because I don't have an answer. So that will be coming to you when I get an answer. I just haven't had it yet. So.
Mr. Snively?
Through your worship, I would recommend that the engineering firm that designed that bridge come down and take a look at what they designed. And let them come up there in a low car. Let them come up there in a Fusion or that Mustang or low-lying car. I'd like to see them come down, and then let's see what they say. And I would like to see that, because it's it's a dangerous intersection. I don't care what anybody says. It's designed improper. And that's not your fault. It's not our fault. But I would recommend getting hold of the engineering firm that did that and let one of their people come down there in a low riding car and pull up to that intersection and look east. And let's see what they say, because that's a problem intersection for sure.
Thank you, sir. Councillor Vokes, and then Councillor Kexero.
Thank you, Your Worship. In terms of the intersection at Tim Hortons, council that night we had enough for a meeting at council. It was a public meeting at council, and we had a quorum there. And the question in terms of the restricted parking, no parking of commercial vehicles by the stop sign, was agreed by council that night to do that. That should be moving forward now. I don't know why we're having those discussions. In terms of the intersection and the light, here we are again making things really confusing people when they don't need to be. You can go to Windsor, you can go to any safety place in Windsor right now, and you get a panel about this big. It's a solar panel, and it's got a wire goes to a red light, and you clamp it to the pole. Problem done. But we just spent how long talking about it, and we're still talking about it. So I'll put a motion for that. We direct administration to go to the safety place and get a solar panel light and put on the pole so it flashes red. Problem solved. Or we can sit here and talk about it till midnight tonight and argue about it. Like, honestly.
Councillor Kexero.
Through your worship, 2 items.
Councillor Kexero. I believe he made a motion. Okay. Okay, thanks.
Through your worship, 2 items. One, with regards to the parking spots that are in front of Two-Way Auto, one has been removed already. They've pulled the lines. So there is only one remaining there. I thought when we had some discussion at, I believe it was our last council meeting or the one before that, because I had mentioned that I had done some measuring and I thought the spots could be pushed back, but apparently our first direction of taking out the one spot has been accomplished already. I don't know if there's been a sign erected. I didn't notice a sign mentioning no commercial vehicles. But certainly the one spot has been removed. With regards to the light, the only thing I'd like to see, and this is maybe where the report comes back from administration, I'd like to know whether or not what Randy's speaking of, the solar paneled red flasher on top of the sign, is the best resolution to that problem, or whether it's a hanging flashing light, because that would be more in line with the lights that are further up ahead. So, and this is where I'd look for administration to make comment on it. That's why I would suggest maybe it's not as simple as getting that light, because maybe the light should be in the air. I don't know, because there's the two ways of doing that.
I think Councillor Bjorkman was next, Councillor Rowe.
Thank you, Your Worship. We've been through this a number of times now. We bring something to the table. It's not, we're fairly emotional about it. We make a decision, and one time we had to come back and we had to extend the speed limit on a road because we didn't really look at it the right way. We need to have administration go out and look at the corner, because there are many things that could happen here. We have no idea. We don't even know all the options that are available to us. So that's why we have administration. That's why we have people that are professionals with this. We need it soon. I agree with you, Larry. I'm all for safety. The things that I work for is the public safety of our town. However, we don't know what our options are. So let's direct administration. This is a safety issue. We want it looked at right away, and we want to have a recommendation to see what can we do or what should we do to make that intersection safer. And to me, that's how we should go with any of these things, because really, we don't know the options that are out there. And there could be something that's much better than we have any knowledge of. So that would be my suggestion.
Hey, Councillor Vokes?
I don't want to make it confusing, but Councillor Caxero, when you go to Chrysler tomorrow, go up the front end and look at the flashing red lights on the stop signs. That was hundreds of hours of corporate people at Chrysler's involved in safety, and hundreds of hours of Joint Health and Safety Committee meetings, and hundreds of hours of Wednesday plant managers meetings to put those flashing solar panel lights on those stop signs, and moving thousands and thousands, as you well know, vehicles a day, and hundreds and thousands of pedestrians. That corporation felt as though that was the most safest initiative and the most reliable initiative. So when we're talking about one light at a stop sign that Larry's simply requesting to make an intersection more viable, more safe, and we're making it all complicated. It's a flashing red light. I don't know what a study's going to tell us, what a report's going to tell us, people. It's a flashing red light on a stop sign that says, hey, look, it's dark out, it's foggy out, there's a stop sign there. That's all it's doing. You can report and study it all day if you want. That's all it's going to do. That's the intent of it. They're about I think about $800 at Lucier Safety or at Great Lakes through them at Great Lakes Safety. And they could be in tomorrow. We're spending so much time on this, I could buy 20 lights.
Thank you, sir. With regards to what Councillor Caxera was speaking about, if you remember, bylaw number 1456 deals with commercial vehicles at that spot on that street, so it's coming up, Bill. We have a motion on the floor. Ready for the... Okay. Who seconded Larry's motion? You remember? Randy made the motion. Okay. Yep. Man, there the chair didn't do the right thing again. Discuss this motion, it wasn't a motion, but that's quite all right. We got through it. Ready for the motion? Oh, you want to hear it? Sorry.
Moved by Councillor Vokes, seconded by Councillor Snively, that a flashing stop sign be erected at the northwest corner of the four-way stop at Queen Street and Center in Harrow.
I'm going to ask for a recorded vote.
Councillor Snively? Oh, sorry, I'm sorry. Yeah, I meant Randy. Councillor Vokes? Councillor Bjorkman? Councillor Kixero?
Support.
Councillor Snively?
Support?
Deputy Mayor Malosh? Mayor McDermott?
For safety's sake, I'm going to support.
With a recorded vote of 4 in favor and 2 opposed, the motion is carried. Next item of business are ballot numbers.
Excuse me, point of order, Larry.
No, I just, I'm not, I just...
I think
finish.
Go ahead. Councillor Simon?
Through your worship, I just want to, Russ, this had nothing to do with what was discussed. I want that very clear. We're going to go back to the McCormick and the 4th. All I'm asking is administration to get a hold of the engineering firm to please have somebody go out there and look at that intersection, look at the bar. That's all I'm asking. And I've had many neighbors in the area there that live there, okay, that say it's a dangerous intersection, which I know for a fact, in a snowstorm, what's happening there is the snow will build up on the ledge up to the pipe, and the pipe holds it. So all I'm asking is administration to get a hold of the engineering firm to go out and take a look at it. That's all I'm asking. Thank you.
Could I just go back to that vote, please? There's a question as to how Councillor Caxero voted. Oh, he supported, I'm sorry. No, okay, that's fine, we got her. Thank you.
Item 13, bylaws. A is bylaw number 1456, being a bylaw to amend bylaw 224, the bylaw to regulate parking by restricting commercial vehicle parking on the west side of Queen Street in Harrow in front of Two-Way Automotive.
Deputy Mayor Malash. Supports, moves it, supports, and Councillor votes. Any question? All in favor? Motion carries.
Item B, bylaw 1457, being a bylaw to authorize the execution of an agreement between the Corporation of the Town of Essex and the Corporation of the City of Windsor for the pathway to potential funding for 2015.
Moved by Councillor Caxero, supported by Deputy Mayor Malash. Questions? All in favor? Motion carries.
Bylaw number 1458, being a bylaw to authorize the execution of a lease agreement between the Essex Community Futures Development Corporation and the Town of Essex for office space at 39 Maidstone Avenue East, and this is for the Economic Development Officer's office.
Moved by Councillor Volk, supported by Deputy Mayor Malash. Any questions? All in favor? Motion carries.
Item D, bylaw number 1459, being a bylaw to enter into an agreement with the Windsor-Essex County Humane Society for the intake of stray cats for the Town of Essex.
Deputy Mayor Malash moves. Councillor Caxero supports. Question? Bill?
Through you to Donna, I guess. That $25 a day for the 10 days if they have to quarantine the cat, is this the first time we've had this agreement with them, first of all?
Through you, Your Worship, no, this is not the first agreement. That was in the initial agreement that we had with them as well, the quarantine fee.
Okay. So further to that, is this something that happens a lot? Like, do the cats have to go into quarantine? Are we paying? I know you probably don't have stats, but is it happening once or twice a year, or is it happening very rarely, or is it happening 10 times a year that we have to pay for a quarantine?
Through you, Your Worship, I've only seen it once in the time that we've had an agreement with them.
That's all I need to know. Thank you.
Thank you. All in favor? Motion carries.
Item E, bylaw number 1460, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the October 19th, 2015 regular council meeting.
Councillor Caxero. Councillor Snively. Questions? All in favor? Motion carries.
Item 14 is the motion to adjourn.
Councillor Caxero and Deputy Mayor Malash. All in favor? Have a great night, everyone. Oh, just before I go, don't forget, Saturday night is Citizen of the Year at Holy Name Parish for Frank Mathis. So if you haven't got your tickets, you better hurry because they'd like to know how many meals they need. Thank you.